Hi, my name is Joe Dunsmore. I've lived in this town for 33 years. I moved here because of the quality of life and the quality of education. And to me, the quality of life and education has always been a very strong point about this town. But it's also important to be very proud of the town and also to be fiscal responsibility. The last several years, we have seen a decline in our revenue coming in. Our status quo of government is to borrow. I think this team of Mazza, 209 I should say, is a team that has the experience and the stewardship and be able to guide the town back to the glory of when I moved here in 1975. It's a town to be proud of. We need to do some fixing. We need to fix our responsibility to the taxpayer. And I think that you saw last year in the Board of Finance, 3 people who knew that it was going the wrong direction. Our team, headed up by Joe Mazza, is a gentleman who I respect. And I think everybody in this town sees that he is a gentleman who can cross party lines, who can make things happen, has the experience in understanding the financial background, and CPA, a person who is not a bishop, but a person who loves, and it's nothing to take away from a bishop who's not a homegrown boy, but a person like myself who comes from Philadelphia, who came from New York, who loves this town. And I think under his guidance and understanding the fiscal responsibility that this town needs at this stage. And also from an educational standpoint, we all came here, the people like myself who are not born and raised here, came here because of the educational process. We must continue this. We must make our students leaders of tomorrow. I am 61 years of age. I won't be here long, but I need to make sure that this town is here and has the right education. So I would strongly support everyone to vote on November 3rd for the Mazza ticket, as well as the other folks on the team. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see the great team of the Mazza team in 209. Thank you.
We have a tremendous, tremendous opportunity here in town as Republicans. It doesn't escape me that the Republican Party has been around since the day of Lincoln. And I believe the Republicans, ironically, have actually controlled the town administration here since the day of Lincoln for everything but less than 20 years. And I'm kind of tired of hearing our colleagues on the other side, our opponents, laying the claim that they're responsible for the quality of life here in Guilford, that they're responsible for the character of this town. The character of this town is in large part due to Republican administrations that go back to the 1860s and before. Most of the people that moved here, myself included, moved here because of the way that Republicans have developed this community. And it is extremely important for the Republicans to take back control of the community. Everyone is well aware that the issues for this campaign are going to be taxes, taxes, and taxes. I don't care whether it's your reval bill, if you're a business, your personal property tax on your business, you're a homeowner. The story this year, and unfortunately, certainly for the next 4 years, the period of time we're seeking office, it is going to be about taxes. I want to remind you all of where we have come during the last 4 or 5 years. Our fund balance, which is our rainy day account, our savings account, the current administration has spent that down by well over $1 million. In 2007, they drew out a little over $300,000. In 2008, they drew out over $500,000. This past year, they drew out over or close to $400,000. It was about $380,000. our fund balance is down to about $2 million. The auditors, the public auditors that audit municipalities and businesses, we Republicans ask them every year when they present the audit results to us, what should our fund balance be? We are repeatedly and always told that our fund balance should be somewhere between 5% and 15% of our operating budget. Our operating budget now is in excess of $70 million. Even at 5%, that would be $3.5 million, and that's the minimum number that the auditors speak about. We can't let this continue to occur for another 4 years. It must stop, and it needs to stop on Election Day. I want to speak about the revenue in our town. Our revenue last year, during the end of the current fiscal year, which ended in June, the administration's budget was down $1.6 million in revenue. Now, I will agree and admit it is not totally their fault, but some of it certainly is their fault. We have had development opportunities in this town that have come down the pike in the last 5 years that the current administration has almost intentionally done all they could to stop the development. You just have to drive right down the street here. We're within walking distance of the rock pile. Had the rock pile not taken 2 and 3 years to get through the regulatory process in this town, the rock pile project, Guilford Commons, would have been constructed and up and doing business last Christmas. Had that been the case, they would have been paying us over $500,000 a year in taxes. That's just one property. Drive further down the road to Fonticello's. There's a huge piece of property, sitting fallow, no development. You drive past Fleischmann's. That plaza just kind of looks like what happened. Across the street here, we have the old Karen's where Bobby Baird lived. There's another property. It's a shack, it's a shamble, and it looks terrible. That's a gateway to our community, and there should be nice, clean development going on there. It's not. When you get to the issue of development, you look at what's happening in places like the P&Z and some of our regulatory agencies. In the last 2 months, they have been jamming down new regulatory regulations, or attempting to jam them down, that will affect Town Center South. And in fact, their justification for the Town Center South is that they want to build residential development because they think that residential development is economic development. We purchased the Goss property for $14 million to stop that very thing. We don't need residential development that is a negative tax loss. We need some good, clean commercial development. We are not going to see that in the foreseeable future as long as the Democrats are controlling Town Hall. I'd next like to talk about some of the expense side of our operating budget. It's no secret to all of you that last year during our budget process, every single last Democrat voted and was comfortable with sending out to you a budget that called for nearly a 7% property tax increase. That proposal was sent out to you when we in Guilford, in Connecticut, and the entire nation and in the entire world were in the middle of a financial tsunami. It is just unconscionable to me that they would have done that. Now, I do understand that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education, they have an obligation to present need-based budgets. But the Board of Finance has the job of deciding what's affordable, what's reasonable. That didn't happen on my Board of Finance. All 3 Republicans voted no for that 7% budget, and all 4 Democrats voted yes for it. The public spoke, and they spoke very loudly. We're not going to tolerate those kinds of taxes. We need to put an end to 5%, 5%, 7% taxes. I'd also like to talk a little bit and inform the public, I suppose, about what happened with the second budget referendum. During the second budget referendum, the proposal out of the Board of Finance was to cut salaries by about 1.2 or 1.3 million. I want to tell you all what actually happened.